What did Steve Fletcher really know that made him risk everything to stand by Jay Blades? For years, the repair shop appeared to be a place of calm craftsmanship and quiet trust. Viewers believed Steve Fletcher and Jay Blades shared a straightforward, unbreakable professional bond. But at 63, Steve has finally broken his silence, and in doing so, confirmed rumors fans long whispered about. His decision to support Jay during his darkest hour revealed far more than loyalty. It exposed the real dynamics behind the workshop doors, and the truth may surprise you more than you expect. Steve Fletcher shared a moment that instantly set the repair shop fan base buzzing, a simple photo, but one loaded with meaning. There he was, smiling beside Jay Blades, relaxed and at ease despite months of controversy surrounding Jay. The image appeared on Fletcher's Instagram stories, accompanied by a casual caption explaining that he had taken a short break from his Secrets from the Barn tour to stop by for tea and a chat. What struck fans most was the tone. Fletcher didn't sound cautious or defensive. He described the visit lightly, even joking that the tea was lovely. That easy, almost domestic warmth stood in stark contrast to the public narrative surrounding Jay at the time. While institutions and broadcasters were stepping back, Fletcher appeared completely comfortable, as if nothing between them had changed. The decision to pause his tour made the gesture even more telling. Secrets from the Barn represented Fletcher's independent career beyond the show, and stepping away from it, even briefly, signaled where his priorities were. He also mentioned hoping to see Jay again soon, suggesting this wasn't a symbolic one-off visit, but an ongoing connection. It quietly contradicted assumptions that former colleagues had cut ties. The timing amplified everything. Jay Blades was facing serious legal challenges, and the BBC had already removed episodes featuring him. In an industry where silence and distance are often the safest choices, Fletcher did the opposite, and did it publicly. He didn't hide the meeting. He didn't soften it. In doing so, he confirmed what many viewers had long suspected. Their bond went far beyond a TV partnership. The photo itself said what words couldn't. There was no stiffness, no forced smiles, no sense of obligation. Both men looked genuinely happy to see one another. It felt less like a statement and more like two friends catching up, unaffected by the noise outside. Behind the workshop doors, that friendship had been years in the making. For 7 seasons at the Weald and Downland Living Museum, Steve and Jay worked side by side. What began as a professional collaboration slowly became something deeper. Viewers often noticed their easy chemistry, joking online that they felt more like brothers than colleagues. From the start, Fletcher had watched Jay grow into his role. When the repair shop launched in 2017, Jay brought empathy and enthusiasm, but little technical background. Steve became one of his quiet mentors. Jay would linger by Steve's bench, asking questions about worn gears, faulty chimes, or why a clock sounded off. Steve, patient and precise, explained each detail, helping Jay understand the craft behind the stories. Fletcher saw early on that Jay wasn't just a presenter going through the motions. He was genuinely curious, deeply respectful of traditional craftsmanship. During a 2018 episode, after watching Steve restore a Victorian clock, Jay remarked that Steve's hands were like a history lesson. That comment stayed with him. It revealed Jay's appreciation for the work and strengthened their bond. Many of their real conversations happened off camera, during breaks, after filming wrapped, or over cups of tea at the end of long days. They talked about why old objects matter, why clocks feel like family to their owners. Fans sensed that connection long before it was ever confirmed. One viewer once posted that Steve and Jay felt like brothers in the barn, a perception that now feels more accurate than ever. Jay consistently deferred to Steve's expertise, giving him space to shine. In a 2021 Christmas special, Jay stepped back as Steve repaired a music box, visibly proud as it played again. The workshop at the Living Museum fostered bonds that went far beyond television. Each craftsperson brought different skills, but they shared the same belief. Restoring objects was really about restoring memories and helping families heal. Steve Fletcher and Jay Blades connected deeply around that purpose. They often talked about how a repaired heirloom could ease grief, agreeing that the repair shop was never just about fixing things, it was about mending people. Fletcher especially admired how Jay connected emotionally with visitors. Jay understood that broken objects often carried emotional weight, and his gentle way of listening frequently brought owners to tears. Steve later admitted he learned from Jay's empathy, realizing that technical skill worked best when paired with human understanding. Through demanding shoots and production pressures, they balanced each other. Steve's calm steadied Jay, while Jay's warmth kept the bigger mission in focus. That bond was tested in September 2024, when serious allegations against Jay Blades surfaced. He was charged with controlling and coercive behavior toward his estranged wife, Lisa Bosson, claims that shocked fans and clashed sharply with his public image. The BBC responded quickly, pulling episodes featuring Jay, while other broadcasters paused or canceled projects connected to him. Almost overnight, his professional world began to unravel. The situation was made more painful by how quickly Jay's personal life had collapsed. His marriage, celebrated in late 2022 as a quiet fairy tale, had ended less than 2 years later amid police investigations and court proceedings. Jay pleaded not guilty, and while the case remained unresolved, the uncertainty dragged on for months. He stepped down from public roles, was removed from tours and promotions, and became increasingly absent from the world he once represented. Amid all this, Steve Fletcher faced a quiet but profound test of loyalty. The safest option would have been distance or silence. Instead, he chose neither, setting the stage for a reckoning that would force fans to reconsider what they thought they knew about friendship, responsibility, and the bonds formed behind the workshop doors. As the controversy unfolded, cast members who had worked with Jay for years suddenly found themselves in unfamiliar territory. Most chose silence, not necessarily as judgment, but likely out of caution, legal advice, or genuine uncertainty about what the right response should be. In that climate, saying nothing became the safest option. Steve Fletcher chose a different path. Breaking that silence carried real risk. Publicly supporting someone facing serious allegations could damage a reputation built over decades. Sponsors might step back. Broadcasters could question his judgment. Fans might see his actions as dismissive of the gravity of the accusations. Fletcher knew all of that, and spoke anyway. His decision reflected the same values that defined his career. As a master horologist, Fletcher's work depended on trust, patience, and respect for what could not be replaced. Every clock placed in his hands carried family history and emotional weight. Those principles didn't stop at the workbench. He applied them to friendship, too. Restoration over abandonment, loyalty over convenience. His Instagram message was deliberate and measured. He avoided any comment on the allegations or legal process, focusing instead on shared history and personal connection. It was a careful line to walk, and it showed he understood the complexity of the moment. He wasn't defending actions or outcomes. He was standing by a person he knew. Public reaction was divided. Some praised Fletcher for his courage and loyalty. Others questioned whether support was appropriate at all, arguing it risked sending the wrong message. Fletcher seemed prepared for that response. By sharing the meeting publicly rather than privately, he made it clear he wasn't hiding the friendship or acting out of shame. He trusted his own judgment while respecting the legal process. When he said he hoped to see Jay again soon, it signaled something else entirely. This wasn't a farewell or a symbolic gesture. He intended to remain present, regardless of public opinion or professional fallout. That choice spoke to the depth of the bond between him and Jay Blades. For longtime viewers of the repair shop, it confirmed what many had quietly sensed. Their connection was never just professional. Across 7 seasons, their rapport felt natural and unforced, less like colleagues, more like friends who trusted each other instinctively. Jay wasn't just the host Steve worked alongside. He was someone Steve believed was worth standing by, even when doing so came at a cost. Over the years, Steve Fletcher's instinct to protect Jay Blades showed up in small, easily missed moments on screen. When visitors' stories became heavy with grief or emotion, Fletcher would sometimes glance toward Jay with a shared look of understanding. And when technical explanations risked becoming too complex, Jay often turned naturally to Steve for clarity or reassurance. To attentive viewers, those moments hinted at a deeper trust between them. Fans also noticed signs that their connection extended beyond filming. Occasional social media exchanges, quiet comments, shared posts, references that felt personal rather than promotional, suggested an ongoing friendship that went well past professional obligation. It was subtle but consistent. That's why the timing of Fletcher's visit mattered so much. He chose to show up during one of the most isolating periods of Jay Blades' life, when distance would have been easier and safer. There was no professional advantage to be gained, no publicity to chase. It was simply loyalty in action. By publicly standing beside Jay, Steve Fletcher accepted real personal risk. He understood that association with controversy could damage his reputation and career, yet decided that his friends' well-being, and the history they shared, mattered more than public approval. The professional stakes were high. The television industry is unforgiving when controversy arises, regardless of legal outcomes. The repair shop continued successfully without Jay, and Fletcher could have quietly moved forward with his own projects, including his Secrets from the Barn tour, without attracting scrutiny. Instead, he chose otherwise. Supporting Jay risked backlash from venues, sponsors, and audiences, and Fletcher was fully aware of that. Television careers are fragile, and reputational damage can be swift and lasting. Still, he acted according to his values rather than convenience. The BBC's swift decision to remove Jay from broadcasts added further pressure. While no one was explicitly told to cut ties, the message was clear. Fletcher's choice to ignore those unspoken expectations demonstrated an independence and a conviction that few were willing to show. While the crisis unfolded, most of the other experts from the repair shop chose careful silence. It was the safer path, and likely the one most advised from a professional standpoint. In contrast, Steve Fletcher made a different choice. By breaking that silence and standing openly by Jay Blades, he showed that personal integrity mattered more to him than career security or peer pressure. Fletcher's long-established reputation played a role in that confidence. As a master craftsman, his value had always rested on skill, patience, and trust. Qualities audiences and producers respected regardless of controversy. That standing offered a degree of protection others might not have had, and Fletcher seemed aware of the responsibility that came with it. He believed his position allowed, and perhaps required, him to act according to his convictions. His support also carried weight because of who he was. When someone with Fletcher's credibility maintains a friendship during such a moment, it introduces nuance into a conversation often reduced to headlines. It suggested that real relationships are more complex than public narratives allow, and that personal knowledge can coexist with respect for legal process. The impact of his decision reached beyond their friendship. For fans, it challenged assumptions about loyalty and judgment, highlighting the gap between public perception and private reality. Fletcher's actions offered a quiet but powerful example. Standing by someone in crisis doesn't mean excusing everything they may be accused of. It means recognizing their humanity and choosing connection over convenience. His approach shows that real friendship can exist alongside moral boundaries, that compassion doesn't require blind approval, and accountability doesn't have to erase empathy. In doing so, Steve Fletcher has subtly challenged how the public views relationships formed in the spotlight. By continuing to stand by Jay Blades, Fletcher reinforces the idea that authentic bonds can grow even in highly produced environments. Their connection suggests that not every television relationship is manufactured for cameras, that shared experiences, respect, and trust can survive long after filming stops, even under intense public scrutiny. For Jay personally, Fletcher's support carries particular weight. It comes not from distant fans or online voices, but from someone who knows him well and has worked beside him for years. That kind of validation, quiet, credible, and personal, offers reassurance during a period when public judgment can feel overwhelming. It may shape how others see Jay, but more importantly, it reminds him that his character, as understood by those closest to him, still matters. Yet Fletcher's loyalty isn't transactional. It isn't about influencing outcomes or protecting futures. It's about offering something far more basic during a dark moment: human presence and continued respect. Perhaps most telling is how Fletcher chose to act. He didn't deliver long statements or seek attention. He let his actions speak. In doing so, he confirmed what many fans already believed about him: that he values substance over spectacle and quiet integrity over public positioning. Sometimes the strongest message isn't spoken at all, it's lived. So what do you think? Should friends stand by each other when allegations arise? Or does loyalty have a line it shouldn't cross? Comment down below to let us know. See you then.